Quick note before we begin. All the clips in this video are a modded version of the game, but all my points still stand. If you'd like to download any of the mods in this video, I have a list in the description and they are showing up on the screen here. Anyway, back to the video. R.E.P.O is the best example I've come across of not just multiplayer horror done well, but multiplayer games in general done perfectly. And I'm here to tell you why it's perfect. Before we fully begin, what is Friend-Slop? Well, Friend-Slop refers to the games that are only fun with friends and are otherwise unplayable since there's no enjoyment to them outside of the humor your friends bring. I hate this word because of course multiplayer games are going to be more fun with friends than by yourself. Even some single player games are more fun with friends, but they're not considered Friend-Slop. Perfect example of this exact idea is that a while ago I was playing a horror game called Nyctophobia and was talking to my friend on Discord while I was playing the game. The game itself was underwhelming, with being nothing more than a top-down walking sim, but my friend was constantly able to bring some humor to the game while I was playing it, making it seem less boring. With that being said, do I think Nyctophobia is a bad game? Not really, but I just didn't understand the goal and was consistently lost and confused. That's beside the point. Back on track again. Friends are what makes games fun, and you can have the most entertaining single-player game in the world, but playing it with friends makes it even better. The gameplay of R.E.P.O, while on a base level is extremely simple, is extremely effective. The wandering around in different areas scavenging for items that you may not be able to lift on your own adds the teamwork that is necessary for this game. And everything in this game plays off the aspect of teamwork. You have to rely on your friends to not lure monsters to you, or you have to trust your friends to not die while they are carrying your head to the next extraction point. Every aspect of this game ties into teamwork, which is exactly what a multiplayer game should strive to achieve. Now, I'm going to go more in depth on why the gameplay really exemplifies what this game is good at, but the loot system in this game works perfectly with this idea because of idea of teamwork, since to work at their best, everyone should be picking up something or helping someone else carry something heavy. But the way that the loot is randomly generated along with the environment make it that some people would have to go to different rooms to collect things, which leaves you and your friends more open to being separated and more open to monster deaths and attacks because you can't warn each other what monsters are in the area. But with that said, how does the environment play into this? The environments of R.E.P.O for the most part increase the horror and the tension of the game, with each area having both cramped and open sections. But aside from that, I would like to delve a little deeper into what makes each area scary in my opinion, from my experience. First up is Swift Broom Academy. I like this level a lot because it still feels eerie and magical while also giving off that feeling that is grounded in reality. Everything in this area is very open and overall very bright aside from a select few rooms. With the open areas comes a lot of doors that prevent you from seeing where a monster is if you haven't completely opened the doors. Even without that, the rooms themselves look similar to a castle you'd see in a children's book, and it feels weird wandering around there because it looks lived in, and it looks like someone is actively living there, except no one is. Next up is the Headman Manor, which has been, from my experience, extremely dark and cramped with only a few rooms bringing relief to that. As opposed to the Swiftbroom Academy, this level looks like it was lived in at one point, but now it feels empty and haunted, as if anything could be around any corner. Interestingly, despite the layouts being randomly generated, I do think it's cool that the manor always looks like an intentional layout because it looks increasingly more decrepit as you wander through it. From the spiderweb hallways to the most of the lights being out, it just gives off the feeling that nothing has lived there for ages. Following that is the Mechanic Station, which also looks abandoned. However, it doesn't look long abandoned. It feels like it was abandoned only recently and in a hurry, with several things still lying around that you would want to take with you if you had the time, such as the PC tower or the 3D printer. That is more often than not laying out in the open. Also, this level has a nice mix of open and tight spaces while also being pretty decently lit, further playing into the idea that it was quickly abandoned. Even the outside segments play into the horror of this area because they're extremely dark and tight, leaving you not much room to escape from monsters if they were to chase you down that hallway. The final normal area is the Museum of Human Art, which takes everything I've gushed about and puts them into one area. So it is extremely dark and big, making it hard to see anything without your flashlight or the pool lights or fire pits that lay around randomly. There were graffiti on the walls and grass growing through concrete prison that is this level highlight that nothing has disturbed this place for a while. Even though the fire pits and tents still lay around, they look almost thrown together as if someone was here at one point but got stuck in here. and it gives off the feeling that you will too. To end off this segment on the normal levels, I would like to say that this area probably has the best way of hiding the enemies. While the others just have them behind doors, the museum lacks doors, but instead has walls everywhere. So wandering into somewhere that you think is safe could have a monster just around the corner. Finally, there's the disposal area and service station. Both of them are fun areas in this game because they help release some of the built-up tension from the previous level. Obviously, the disposal area is where you go when things go wrong, but having it in a similar fashion to an arena makes it great because it gives you a valid way to beat up your friends. And the service station allows you and your friends to run around like idiots while debating whether or not something is a good way to spend your money. Now, finally, let's talk about the creepy crawlies that lurk around these areas. The monsters. Where do I begin? While some of the monsters are designed to split you up or do damage, such as the Shadow Child, Bella, the Birthday Boy, Animal, the Upscream, the Chef, Bowtie, the Mentalist, Bangers, Gambit, Headgrab, Heart Hugger, Oogly, Headman, Robes, Reaper, Clown, Trudge, and Cleanup Crew, they all behave differently from each other, requiring you to still recognize what they do to avoid getting killed. However, the hidden while behaving just like these other monsters highlights why being separated is a big deal because Hidden will pick you up and randomly put you somewhere on the map, away from your friends, leaving your friends to die or to get you killed. Some of the other monsters, however, while still being able to be grouped into categories, heavily showcases that idea of teamwork. For example, the Peeper puts one of your friends out of commission until they can break free from its gaze. The Gnomes require your friends to be on the lookout out for them so that they won't break your stuff. And the Apex Predator puts one of your friends out of service until they walk away and also requires one of your friends to pet it until it walks away. Gambit, not that Gambit, there we go. Gambit can pick up your friends and put them in the air until his wheel stops spinning. I'm gambling again. Green? Nope, I'm dead. And if your friends try to help you by stunning them, it could do more harm than good. The Spewer, unlike the other separation monsters, doesn't force you away from your friends out of fear. Instead, it gives you the choice. Instead, it gives you the choice: run away to safety but risk losing them, or stay with them and run the risk of getting damaged by their vomit until it leaves. Aside from those monsters, we also have the teamwork monsters, such as the Tick, which latches onto you or one of your friends, and you need someone else to remove it, or the Rugrat, which requires multiple people to pick up to prevent it from breaking all your stuff. But I think the best example of this teamwork idea is through the loom.
Ooh, what's that from?
What are you doing? That's not fair. There was no marking. This thing can insta-kill you without any health upgrades, and the loom will randomly select someone and begin to stalk them. That is where your first point of teamwork comes in. You must tell your team that you've been marked because the loom will come for you first, and if it can't reach you, it'll pick someone else nearby. So it has this constant requirement of communication on who is marked, so that way you have an understanding of where it may be and where it may come from. But what about the opposite of that? Well, that's where you get the huntsman, which
Yes, you're
sucks.
gonna get.
They're blind enemies that will shoot at anything that makes noise. So staying quiet is a must because even if he leaves a room, you run the risk of that he is just outside the room and could come back to kill you. With all that said, each monster is assigned a monster level, and that is what helps make the game monster progression feel fair. It's on a scale of 1 to 3, and your level 1 monsters are the Peeper, Shadow Child, Gnome, Apex Predator, Spewer, Bella, Birthday Boy, Elsa, and the Tick. Your level 2 monsters are the Rugrat, Animal, Upscream, Chef, Hidden, Bowtie, Mentalist, Banger, Gambit, Headgram, Heart Hugger, Oogly, and your level 3 monsters are the Headman, Robe, Huntsman, Reaper, Clown, Trudge, and Cleanup Crew, and the Loon. The monster spawning works off those level numbers, with levels 1 and 2 having one level 1 monster and one level 3, levels 3 through 5 having one of each level, level 6 of 8 having two of each level, level 9 having two level 1s and level 3s, and three level 2s, 10 through 19 having 3 of the level 2s and 2 level 1s, and level 20 and up having 3 level 1s and 4 level 2s and 3s. Combined with the extra extraction points in this game, and the game never has a steep difficulty spike, it feels extremely gradual. Yes, you could get really unlucky with the monster spawns for a certain environment. That is absolutely. But as you progress through the game, the monsters become more and more manageable. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. It's my first time covering a game aside from my now deleted Marvel Rivals experience, and if you would like to see me cover more games, I would be more than happy to do so. Anyway, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.